In the mining world, fortunes are made daily. From investors across the globe to local economies, everyone in the game stands to win big. But there's one story that stands above the rest, a story of massive wealth creation. Barrick Gold.
Barrick Gold, ticker GOLD.
Business could be booming for Barrick Gold.
It was once just a small, debt-ridden oil company, but in under 25 years, it became the world's top gold producer, worth over $25 billion.
A sector leader in gold and copper production, Barrick Gold Corporation specializes in the exploration, development, and production of these precious metals.
How did that happen?
Sure, disclaimer, I'm not sponsored by or affiliated with any of the companies named in here. I just had lots of fun researching all of that. I was like, why not do a documentary out of it? Usually I'm more focused on like early stage companies. You should check out the other videos that are coming up. Those are my sweet spot. Yeah, but like I recorded all of this. I did all of this like a year ago, and yeah, when I look back, I kind of wish I owned those kind of stocks. They ran pretty well, but yeah. Hope you enjoy it. If you're interested in the sector or in general early stage investments, you should definitely check out the other stuff. Happy to have you here. Enjoy the documentary. Not gonna disturb you again.
Through one man's relentless drive, Peter Munk saw gold where no one else did. He built Barrick into a powerhouse.
It was the company that he established in the 1980s, Barrick Gold, that made him so incredibly wealthy and successful in this country and around the world.
But now this empire faces a hidden threat, a threat that almost every mining company faces. Will they overcome it? In the 1980s, Barrick was just a small oil company, struggling, deep in debt, no clear future. And then, Peter Munk enters the scene. He's a Hungarian-born entrepreneur with big dreams. He sees potential where others see failure. In fact, Peter Munk is no ordinary businessman. Born in Hungary in 1927, he survived the hardships of World War II and moved to Canada as a young man.
He was born in Budapest in the 1920s. He fled the Nazis from Hungary in 1944 and arrived here without any money, without any connections.
He starts several businesses, but he faces failure after failure until he strikes gold, and lucky for him, it's the late 1970s. Richard Nixon has just canceled the gold standard.
The strength of a nation's currency is based on the strength of that nation's economy, and the American economy is by far the strongest in the world. I have directed Secretary Connally to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold or other reserve assets, except in amounts and conditions determined to be in the interest of monetary stability and in the best interest of the United States.
And the gold market has gone berserk. Prices are skyrocketing due to economic uncertainties, inflation, and global tensions. Gold is seen as a safe haven, and everyone wants a piece of it. This catches Munk's attention. He realizes that gold isn't just valuable. It is a symbol of stability and wealth that people turn to in tough times. What really convinces Munk to jump into the gold industry is a friend and business partner named David Gilmour, who points him to the potential in mining. Gilmour has seen how much money is pouring into the sector and suggests that Munk, hungry for a new challenge, can turn his entrepreneurial energy toward gold. And so in 1979, Munk starts a new venture called Barrick, which he will eventually build into the world's largest gold company.
I do remember, it had to be in 1981, of course, because that's when I started. He just dressed beautifully and he was very charming. You know, he's a visionary and he has brilliant ideas. And so there was always something new happening and you had to be on your toes the whole time. I could see him inspiring people because he was excited himself, and it spread to the staff.
Munk sees that the mining industry is often inefficient, with many companies operating mines poorly or lacking the business acumen to scale up. He believes he could apply his skills as a businessman and make Barrick a leader by modernizing the way gold companies work. At first, Barrick's operations are small. They buy up failing mines that others ignore. Munk knows they're a gamble, but each bet is a calculated decision, and with every deal, Barrick grows. Instead of diving into just any gold mine, he zeroes in on properties in North America where the political climate is stable and mining laws are predictable. This strategy gives him an edge over competitors taking big risks in politically unstable countries. One of the turning points comes when Barrick acquires Goldstrike, a massive gold mine in Nevada. This site turns out to be a gold mine, literally, and becomes one of the most profitable mines in the world. As the 1980s turn into the 1990s, Munk's strategy starts to pay off. Every purchase adds to the company's power, and Munk is not just after any gold, he's after the richest deposits, the ones others miss. They keep buying up gold mines and ramping up production, focusing on making operations super efficient.
The objective was to create something brand new out of nothing and make it the winner, make it the number one, not just in Ontario or Toronto, but make it a winner globally. And because we were so young, and because we were so new, and because they all came from different parts and different companies, we could afford to select the highest quality people, not just in terms of professional competence, but in spiritual commitment.
Barrick starts implementing groundbreaking mining technology, faster, cheaper, safer. Every innovation pushes Barrick ahead of its competitors. By the early 2000s, Barrick is producing more gold than almost anyone else in the world. By 2006, Barrick Gold is the world's largest gold producer, a powerhouse thanks to Peter Munk's fearless vision. But to stay on top, Barrick must keep growing, finding new opportunities in places few others dare to go.
Over the past decade, Barrick has demonstrated remarkable growth through strategic partnerships, technological advancements, and a diverse portfolio of mines.
That's when Kibali in DRC enters the picture. This region is rich in minerals, holding some of the world's largest untouched gold reserves. It's risky, complex, and far from Barrick's original base, but Munk sees potential. So the company starts acquiring projects on the continent. From 2000, Barrick buys the Bulyanhulu mine in Tanzania by acquiring Sutton Resources. Then they buy Buzwagi and Tulawaka mines in Tanzania through acquisition of Pangaea Goldfields Inc. They also acquire North Mara mine in Tanzania after the takeover of Placer Dome. But then tragedy strikes.
The Canadian who built up the world's biggest gold company has died. Peter Munk was 90.
Peter Munk dies, but his dream doesn't. Barrick Gold goes ahead to dominate African mines. They acquire two more companies, Randgold and Acacia Mining. Their total revenue from African operations now almost makes up 40% of their production. With the Randgold acquisition, they now have 45% ownership of the biggest gold mine in Africa, Kibali. But not everything went smoothly. This was not their first try to realize this project. Back in 1998, together with Anglo Gold Ashanti, another major in the industry, they discovered a huge deposit, the Karagba Shafur Durba, also known as KCD. But then the DRC civil war forced them to withdraw.
Troops loyal to President Laurent Kabila, backed by their Zimbabwean and Angolan allies, grimly defend the airport northeast of Kinshasa, fighting off a determined but apparently unsuccessful offensive by rebel forces.
This deposit would later become part of the legendary Kibali mine. It's clear that this is no ordinary expansion. The stakes in Africa are high. There's political instability, difficult terrain, and competition from other mining giants. Yet Munk believed the reward is worth the risk. With the biggest gold mine in Africa, Barrick gains a foothold in the DRC and a chance to uncover vast reserves that could keep the company thriving for years. But in order to thrive, they need a supply of gold ore. For this, they partner with other companies that know the business hyperlocally, aren't just about short-term profits. It's a strategic move to stay one step ahead in a fiercely competitive industry. And it's here, in the heart of Africa, where Barrick's vision pushes even further, shaping local economies and impacting thousands of lives. As they expand, one mine in particular stands out, the Kibali mine, a site with a story of its own and an impact that reaches far beyond its gates. Barrick's acquisitions open the door to Africa, but one project rises above the rest, the Kibali mine. Yet, for all its impact, Kibali faces the same looming challenge as every mine, the day when its resources will run out. Located in the northeastern Democratic Republic of Congo, Kibali is rich with high-grade gold deposits. It's not just a mine, it's a massive operation that will soon become one of Africa's largest and most productive gold mines. But bringing something like Kibali to life is no small task. The mine is in a remote region, far from major infrastructure, and developing it requires a monumental investment. Two companies take on the challenge together, building roads, power plants, and housing for workers.
We've started with the relocation plan, which was the critical thing. A lot of challenging milestones we've already been able to tick, getting established in the northeastern part of the Congo, and being able to prove to the world and our partners that we can operate, branding ourselves as a new entrant in that region. Exciting times.
It's a full-scale effort, one that turns an isolated area into a bustling hub of industry. To really understand this, we have to look at the local situation. In 2009, Randgold Resources Ltd. and Anglo Gold Ashanti Ltd. acquire the Kibali project. At this time, the World Bank estimates the average GDP per capita in the DRC at $290 or less than 80 cents per day. This compares to 8.818 per year or $24 per day worldwide. In the US at that time, it would be over $47,000 per year or $130 per day. This shows how less developed the economy there is. People are living hand to mouth, fighting for their food every day. No infrastructure as we know it from Western countries, such things we take for granted, streets, running drinkable water, proper housing, stacked supermarkets. The situation is usually not imaginable for somebody who grew up in a country with a solid economy. One company cannot solve all the problems in a place, but it can help to get a cycle of improvements started. The government is participating in the project with 10%, sharing the profits with the country. On a local level, maybe even more important, infrastructure is being developed day by day. In 2010, as one of the first things, they start building roads. Now they span over 300 kilometers and even connect to the Ugandan border. They also maintain these. This means greater mobility and everything that comes with it for people living there. This means easier transportation for goods, which is a catalyst for people being able to trade their products in a broader market, not only their direct neighbors. In 2011, as construction starts, the company commits to an investment of $2.5 billion US. As mining needs lots of energy, they build local power supply with hydropower. In 2016, the construction of the first hydro station is finished and they start using some locally generated energy. Now there are 3 hydropower stations up and running. In total, roughly 80% of the mine's power consumption is provided by renewable energy sources, making it one of the greenest mines in Africa. And right now, they're planning to increase this even more by building a new solar plant, building up further local capabilities. All in all, today, we are now seeing a thriving local economy with multiple DRC business partnerships, benefiting local companies and generating employment opportunities. The community grows. It was 30,000, now it's over 500,000 people. This showcases how mining can start a thriving local economy. The Azambi hydropower station is a great example for this. It saves $19.2 million US annually in diesel fuel costs. It reduces the annual greenhouse gas emissions by 50,000 tons. It's not only great in those terms, but it was built by an almost all Congolese team, 95% locals, with 700 people working on the project at peak of construction, providing jobs and training to many locals. Total payments to local contractors and suppliers amount to a staggering $2.87 billion US. They initially commit to investing $2.5 billion. By now, the total in-country investments amount to $5.4 billion US. They keep investing further, recruitment and training of Congolese nationals, bringing opportunities to an area which elsewise has those very limited. Only 4% foreigners work at the company. Directly and indirectly, it's 96% nationals. As we can see, Kibali transforms not just the landscape, but the lives of thousands in the local communities. Jobs are created, and with them come new opportunities. Schools and clinics open, local businesses emerge, and the region starts to flourish around the mine. Kibali doesn't just bring economic growth, it brings hope, a sense of stability, and the promise of a better future. Yet, for all its impact, Kibali faces the same looming challenge as every mine, the day when its resources will run out. When Kibali's gold reserves are eventually depleted, the effects could be devastating for the communities that depend on it. Without the mine's economic engine, thousands of jobs could vanish almost overnight, leaving families without income and local businesses without customers. Roads and infrastructure built by the mine could fall into disrepair without consistent maintenance, isolating the region once again. Schools and clinics, once funded by mining revenues, might close their doors, leaving children without education and families without health care. The bustling town that grew around the mine could quickly empty, becoming a shadow of its former self. For many, the hope for a stable, prosperous life in this remote part of the Congo could fade as the community struggles to find new sources of support in the absence of Kibali. But there's different ways on how to mitigate these risks for the company and its shareholders, but also for the communities. The very first thing companies do is explore around the property itself. But if there's nothing more to find there, some companies go drill to find something at totally different locations. But this is high risk, so they often partner with companies to share the risks of exploration. Companies can buy a project that's almost ready to go. This can be highly profitable for everybody involved. Look at Montage Gold. They skyrocketed when major players bought in. In February 2024, their key investor London Group increases its stake by 17.8 million Canadian dollars. The stock then runs from 70 cents to over 1.70 Canadian dollars. Then another major comes in, Zijin Mining Group out of China, a major developer. Montage gets another 180 million Canadian dollar. Investors feel even more confident and the stock prices moves from 1.7 Canadian dollar to over 2 Canadian dollar. 3x for investors in less than a year. This can be the perfect exit opportunity for exploration projects or investors in such. But the Kibali mine is not facing its end yet. Barrick's Kibali currently has an expected mine life of over 10 years. For the next few years, Kibali and the built-up economy around it are safe.
Business could be booming for Barrick Gold after the Canadian gold mining company said it had discovered geological extensions at its Kibali joint venture in Democratic Republic of Congo, prolonging the life of the mine. Chief Executive Mark Bristow said geologists had discovered mineral reserves exceeding those that are depleted annually.
Barrick overall has a proper project pipeline, but they always have to look for the next great project, ideally located in the area. One more thing companies can do to help the local community is to leave something behind, even after a mine is closed. Just one example of this is what Barrick did after the closure of the Buzwagi mine in Tanzania. In March 2024, they announced the opening of the Barrick Academy at the old mine. More than 2,000 foremen, supervisors, and superintendents will be trained there, all from the Africa and Middle East region, and in the next 24 months. They also opened an airstrip. This means better infrastructure and mobility. The Tanzanian government announces the creation of a Special Economic Zone, SEZ. A study reveals the potential. It could replace the mine as the region's economic engine. 3,000 jobs every year. Over $150,000 for the local town. $4.5 million in taxes. We've seen what impact mining can have on communities and how exploration companies play an important role to sustain all the good that comes with a mine, or become a mine on its own.